Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Tuesday, 30th January 2024, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group, lecture explores relevance of Sir Arthur Lewis's model of economic development. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. The Sir Arthur Lewis Community College continued to honor the legacy of Sir Arthur Lewis with its 28th Memorial Lecture. This year's presenter, Dr. James Fletcher, examined Sir Arthur's model of economic development, which he argues remains highly relevant, especially to developing countries like St. Lucia.
The Sir Arthur Lewis Community College continues to honor the legacy of St. Lucia's Nobel laureates with the annual Memorial Lecture, which was held at the Finance Administrative Center. This year's lecture, delivered by Dr. James Fletcher, honed in on the continued relevance of Sir Arthur's economic theories to developing countries. The core of his economic theory is the dynamics of labor reallocation in a dual economy made up of a subsistence sector and an industrial or capitalist sector. His model is still one of the most influential models in development economics.
I delivered the Sir Arthur Lewis Memorial Lecture with two other people, and I spoke on the subject, the economic impact of climate change in the Caribbean. Therefore, anything in or near the orbit of that subject was out of bounds, despite several new developments and dimensions to this topic in the intervening years. Instead, I decided to explore how the teachings and philosophies of Sir William Arthur Lewis, some of which had been developed and articulated over 70 years ago, were still relevant and applicable to the development of St. Lucia and the wider community of Caribbean small island developing states, or as we call them, SIDS.
Dr. Fletcher spoke on St. Lucia's continued failure to use the groundbreaking work by Sir Arthur Lewis, even as governments worldwide pay homage to Arthur Lewis and apply his model. He is urging the government of St. Lucia to implement aspects of his economic principles, in particular the idea that the fundamental cure for poverty is not money, but knowledge.
St. Lucia has not patterned its national development on his teachings and policies. In fact, the lament goes further to bemoan the fact that while the development of countries like Singapore, South Korea, Taiwan, Malaysia, Botswana, and even China, with its shift from being an agrarian economy to a manufacturing, industrial, and now technological giant, have been patterned to varying degrees on the Lewis model, St. Lucia, the birthplace of Sir Arthur, has not seemed that interested in following the policy prescriptions of Sir Arthur.
The guest speaker highlighted that in times past, some of Sir Arthur's prescriptions were put to the test to revolutionize the agricultural sector at a time when financial support was at its lowest. The attraction of international trade agencies by the various islands allowed for shared resources and intellect, which saw the blooming of trade and growth of the banana industry in St. Lucia.
The challenge of setting up new manufacturing enterprises in Caribbean countries was, as he put it, a formidable problem. And, again, quoting him directly, a frightfully expensive business quite beyond the resources of the island. Many Caribbean governments use this strategy to develop a policy environment and physical infrastructure that were conducive to the growth and development of light industries like textiles, garments, electronics, and assembly manufacturing.
The topic for this year's lecture was Navigating the Future, applying the teachings of Sir Arthur Lewis to St. Lucia's 21st century development challenges. Apart from discussing the principles spearheaded by Sir Arthur Lewis and how these can aid in revitalizing St. Lucia's economy, it also examined current and pressing issues such as crime and infrastructural instability. For the DBS News World, I am Manasseh Stanislas reporting.
Jamaica set to create blue and green financing facility. Javon Keys of TVJ's Business Day reports.
Jamaica is looking to create a suite of climate-smart financing facilities. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark says discussions are already being had with prospective partners.
Speaking at the Jamaica Stock Exchange's 19th Annual Regional Investments Conference, Dr. Clark says the fund will focus on the blue economy, which includes sustainable projects linked to the sea. The general green economy will also be considered.
To create a suite of instruments, including a blue-green facility, which will be domiciled here in Jamaica, where projects in the private sector, or I'd even dare say the public sector projects that are brought to the private sector, can have access to green or blue financing right here in Jamaica.
He says these facilities are necessary as resilient developments can be costly.
Because of that, to ensure that there is a return on these projects that meets the cost of capital, we need to have what is termed, blended financing arrangements with other streams of capital coming in that have other motives and therefore might have different expectations of return. And that's where these blue-green facilities come from. Now, some of the biggest players in this space are entities like the Green Climate Fund based in Seoul, South Korea. But small countries have always had a challenge of going through the hoops of accessing these large multilateral sources of financing.
But how will it work?
The government of Jamaica comes in at the first loss layer to inspire others to come in. And we're working to have multilaterals like the Green Financing Facility and others, as well as bilaterals, provide funding as well in a way that the government can lever its contribution several-fold. And those funds will be available on concessional terms for investing in projects that have a green or blue lens or feature to them in order to incentivize investment in Jamaica that is sustainable.
I'm Javon Keys.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick,
in association with our friends at
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
the private sector-led consortium that is pushing to introduce a new regional ferry service feels confident that the fundamental interconnection of expertise will usher in a new era of maritime travel in the Caribbean. Glenn Bart of SKN Newsline has more.
The operational company of the proposed services is Connect Carib, headed by Ambassador Dr. Andre Thomas, Chairman and CEO of the Plenion Group Incorporated and Upturn Funds Caribbean. Consortium partners include Hinkson Consultancy Services, Ramps Logistics, Windward Ferries, and JS Cruises and Tours. According to CEO Thomas, the service is being implemented in such manner that it supports the CARICOM vision on maritime transport.
It was very clear to us that we could not just focus on just moving people. We had to create an infrastructure that would aid small business development, that would aid the movement of agricultural produce, that would move people as well, that would move light cargo. We needed to create an economic development infrastructure using the maritime corridor. And that's what we've succeeded in doing and in bringing the partners to really execute this, who are already operators in this field. And by coming together, we can synergistically multiply our impact on the marketplace and create an economic empowerment zone within the region, which has always been the dream and vision of CARICOM. And so we're here to help make the CSME vision happen on a higher level. That's why we're here.
There is much anticipation that the entry of the regional ferry service would transform inter-regional tourism and business travel, according to Judine Scantlebury, president of the company's travel division.
This new ferry service is poised to bring a multitude of benefits to each island in the region. Not only will it provide reliable and efficient transportation for both locals and tourists, but it will also stimulate economic growth, promote tourism, and enhance connectivity between the islands. I believe that this service has the potential to truly transform the way our people travel throughout the region, and I'm passionate to be a part of this project. My role in this project, which has been allotted to me, is going to be very crucial, whereas I'm overseeing the operation aspect of the project, so maintain efficiency and also reliable transportation links between the islands. That is going to be my responsibility. I will also be ensuring the safety of passengers and their comfort, and implementing strategic plans in order to assist with the growth and the overall aspect of the services that we are going to be providing.
According to Dr. Thomas, an announcement will be made in regards to the official operational start date of the new intra-regional ferry service. Lindbergh reporting for SK Newsline.
The newly reconstructed headquarters of the People's National Movement has been reopened. This as the party celebrated its 68th anniversary at a gala reopening ceremony on Saturday. Terry and Brown Campbell of TTT News tells us more.
Prime Minister and political leader of the People's National Movement, Dr. Keith Rowley, held the first media conference in the party's newly refurbished headquarters on Saturday.
You know, in this party, I don't know if you all know this, 5% of the salary of every party officer who holds office goes to party service. We're not a small church. Every person who holds, including political leaders, we all put 5% of our salary to the party every month. That goes a long way in helping us to have a cash flow to do the things that we do.
After explaining that he did not have the final cost of the refurbishment, the Prime Minister was asked if he would reveal the source of all the funds used in the project.
We are not going to be disclosing our public finances. We have never disclosed our public finances because I know there are those who are there who will try to make all kinds of conspiracy theories and nonsense about it. We ignore those people. We have a general counsel. We have a treasurer. We have a donation committee which I chair. And that is in our constitution. It identifies a very small number of party members who can function in that position. And we have said, yes, thank you very much to some people. And we have said, no, thank you very much. Take that back. Understood?
With regard to the multi-story building being constructed next door to the party headquarters, Dr. Rowley indicated the funds for these two projects were kept separate.
We are operating next door on a much larger project where we had 2 or 3 offers we had, and we raised a significant amount of money, but again that was not enough to do what we had to do. So we went at the pace at which we had our funding, and now we are at roof stage, and I think we are within sight of completion this year.
The PNM headquarters is located at 1 Tranquility Street in Port of Spain. Terry Ann Brown Campbell, TTT News.
A former minister in the Ministry of Public Health in Guyana, Dr. Karen Cummings, has strongly criticized the government for recruiting foreign nurses instead of providing improved remuneration packages and additional benefits to local nurses. Carice Gonzalez of HGP Nightly News provides more information in her report.
Opposition Member of Parliament Dr. Karen Cummings, in her budget debate, urged the government to holistically address the nationwide shortage of nurses. Dr. Cummings said recruiting foreign nurses is merely a quick fix to this dire situation.
The call by this government to address this shortage of nurses by bringing foreign nurses is unacceptable. This government has no respect for the nurses. They are not on the side of our healthcare workers.
While acknowledging infrastructural developments in the health sector, Cummings pointed out that without a sufficient quota of nurses and doctors to fill the void, citizens will not be better off.
We know that Guyana has been going through a personnel crisis with nurses and doctors leaving in droves. failing to acknowledge the root cause of this crisis, which is a need for competitive wages. The government has imprudently announced 6 new hospital projects.
Dr. Cummins also highlighted the crucial need for urgent attention to be placed on added incentives for midwives and addressing socioeconomic factors affecting maternal health, promoting equality and emphasizing the importance a father plays in the life of a child, were among other areas the MP says must be given priority. For the HGP90 News, I am Cruz Gonzalez.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean.
In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.